Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and one of the people across the table is Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Fucking glad to be at the tail end of this fucking goddamn plague that we caught.
Dude, if you don't keep your mouth off my mouth when you're sick, Jesus.
Quit putting your mouth so close to my mouth.
When I watched rewatched our podcast from last week, and about the third time I saw you cough, I was like, that motherfucker. I was like, he's in the studio just coughing on my shit.
That's my mic.
So yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome. Glad we got to experience that misery together.
There's going to be so many people disappointed that you don't have your normal baritone going. It's like raspy and light now.
Not as quite as sultry, is it?
It's not as quite. But Nate, what do we got going on today, buddy?
Oh, I'm actually really excited about this conversation because, for one, we get good buddy of mine, Ken Shoemaker, in here. But the real, meat potatoes of the conversation is going to be his amazing wife. It's Shelace?
Shelace, yeah.
Shelace.
Yep.
Shoemaker. I don't even know what fucking title to give her. Fucking Billy Badass over
Show
here.
cattle? So kind of what you gave her when we were talking. Sometimes
there's too many.
Your compliments are just on.
There's too many letters in the fucking acronym for whatever that.
The IFBB Pro? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It was just IFBP?
BB.
Oh, man. Why did I think there was like 12 fucking letters in there?
Yeah, International Federation of Bodybuilding.
Oh, all right. Well, fuck you guys. All right.
Oh, good. I picked the dumbest guy in the room to introduce you. I think I just figured out why your mic is getting lower and mine's louder because I got the fucking dials backwards.
Oh, that's great.
There you are.
There I am.
Hey.
Okay.
I got that baritone back.
Yeah, all right.
Jesus.
Trying to keep up with Ken over there.
You go. Dude, yeah. He sounds like he's trying to tell me a dirty secret.
Yeah.
It's like slow and raspy.
It's not a secret.
Yeah. Nate, will you switch me spots?
Gladly.
That's going to be too much dude on this side of the table with you guys both over
The
here.
office might flip over.
Fucking A. Let's. I do want to start with Ken. Ken?
Yes.
Tell us who you are and a little bit about you, my friend.
I don't know what you want to know, but
what's exciting to the listeners?
Basically, I'm known now as Shelace's husband. So I have an identity, which is cool. I grew up in California, moved up to Reno about 1999, went to college, went to UNR, met a girl, got a dog, all that story, a couple jobs, and spent 20 years in the golf business. And now,
what were you doing in the golf business?
Retail mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you guys doing like custom fitted clubs and shit like that?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the attraction to that?
I fell in love. Golf was my passion right out of high school. 18, I worked at a golf course and just fell in love with it, and basically almost flunked out of college doing it
because of it.
Yeah, so that's why I got to get out of town and get away from my buddies that were playing a lot of golf, and I act like I was going to be responsible up here. So,
I mean, moving to the desert. How many courses could there be?
There are worse things to be addicted to, Ken.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's an expensive addiction, though.
Yeah, just like most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very much a hobbyist. I have probably 30, 40 hobbies, it seems like, so that's my life.
The look on her face when you said that, confirmed.
She knows, yeah.
And expensive hobbies.
Yeah,
yes.
no, none of them are cheap.
He doesn't build like model airplanes or anything like that, does he?
No.
Yeah.
That's for the golden years.
Yeah. I'm like a 7-year-old man, drink scotch, play golf, fly fish. Like, what am I
Archery.
Archery. What am I going to do when I'm old? Like, skydive and
you already did
base
it all.
jump.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. 280, fit in a squirrel suit.
I didn't say
big
I
ass
wanted
squirrel
to see
suit.
it.
Terminal velocity we hit quick.
Yeah, right.
What is he smuggling? Oh, get him a
Nothing.
bigger suit. Bigger suit. Well, we don't have permission to give the name of the company, but you are one of the reps that works with Nate and Matt.
Right.
Which is how I made our introduction,
right.
How I originally met you sometime back. And I'm proud to say you listen to the podcast and you're a very big supporter of Nate and I and the show and our cause. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm thankful for you guys. I think it's great what you do. I love the mission that you're on to build the trades, because it's very important, not only to my career but the world. Really, I mean, somebody's got to build this stuff,
Yes.
and then fix it as well. So,
Right? Yeah, we just got to find people dumb enough to want to do it. But no, it's it is cool to have you on here. We had attempted to get you on here earlier on a different capacity, and we weren't able to make that work, and that's okay. So when you approached me with the idea of having your lovely wife on here, I was all about it, because I'm addicted to high performers. And I love kind of like the dissection of it and where the conversation goes. And then I saw it as a grand opportunity to get you on here anyway.
Perfect.
So it's like two birds right now, with having you on here. So, Shelace, obviously, as Nate said, you're kind of the star of this show. And as I just stated, kind of jokingly, and we mentioned a little bit in the beginning, like you're an IFBB pro. You just got back from Vegas in December, attending the Olympia.
Yep.
That journey is what attracted me to wanting to have this conversation. But I'm interested to see how far back you want to go with your story to kind of fill us in on what led you up to the Olympia stage.
Jeez. How far back you want to go? Well, I'll just start with the fitness part of it. I've always been an athlete, played sports through high school and stuff like that. And so I ended up becoming a teen mom in high school. And so from there on, sports wasn't my thing, and I had a different responsibility now. So actually, shortly after he and I got together, got back into the gym, and I found a passion for just lifting weights and loved that side of it, and joined a gym, started working out, and started teaching classes, the Group X classes, spinning classes, all of that kind of stuff to just get back into fitness and that lifestyle, and still being athletic, showing off my athleticism. And then someone approached me about competing, and I'm like, what's that? I didn't realize we did that here in Reno. And reached out to a coach, started my bodybuilding, and bodybuilding started in 2009 for me. I did my very first show.
Wow, that's awesome.
And but then I took a really long hiatus after that.
What'd you do in that hiatus?
So I had, I got my master's degree.
Sure.
Had a couple surgeries and stuff on my foot and my knee. No, I didn't have my knee at the time, just my foot. But I just had to take some time away from the bodybuilding world and be a mom too. And then 2016, backyard barbecue, and one of my friends said, "Hey, we should compete together. Let's do a show together." And I said, "Okay, let's go. Yeah, I'm ready. My daughter's grown up. She's independent. I don't have to worry about sticking her in a gym daycare anymore." And so I started competing again, and she didn't. And here we are. Now I'm a pro, and been doing it for the last 6 years, and changed from a teaching career to a coaching career. And
so then
it's been crazy. It's been just an incredible journey the last 6 years.
So within 6 years, you went from getting back on the stage for the first time in 7-8 years, and then from there to competing in Miss Olympia.
Yes.
That's fucking rapid, isn't it?
It's very rapid.
It was quick. So I did 4 NPC shows, I think 4, and then I went to nationals, and I earned my pro card my first time.
Oh shit!
At my first national show, pro qualifier. And then that's kind of a funny story, because I went to Pittsburgh for this show, and Ken's like, do you want me to go with you? And I'm like, no, don't go to this one. I'm not going to earn my card. There's one the next following weekend. So I went there by myself and ended up earning my pro card. So
as a Ken wasn't there? Or?
Yeah.
She has a long history of winning when I'm not there.
That's true.
It is a thing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to take it personally.
It's just hard not to.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So, and then, it's been pro shows from then on, and it's been crazy. It's 4 years of of trying to get to the Olympia stage, and at 41 getting there the first time, which was pretty awesome, and then again at 42. So
That's fucking
It's-
crazy.
That is
it's-
crazy.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into, like, you said you jumped into weightlifting? Did you ever get into like powerlifting or anything of that,
I
or you just
didn't.
went right into the
No,
bodybuilding?
that's my next adventure.
Is it?
No, my body won't hold up.
I was
gonna say,
I would love to. I would
that-
love to powerlift.
Is that where
no,
you're
it
supposed
was
to go as you
bodybuilding.
get older?
Yeah.
Is powerlifting?
Opposite.
Yeah, I was like,
Bones
isn't it
turn
a
to
20-year-old? Say God.
No, I just love it. I love watching those guys do powerlifting.
Move weight.
I would
Yeah.
love to, like, just to see how much I could lift. I
Right.
would love to, but
Yeah.
no.
Well, because
No,
she's
it was
friends
all-
with Travis Ortmeyer, who we've had on, who is a world's strongest man as well. So that's like kind of crazy. You guys are all in that same circle inside
Well,
that gym.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to American Iron.
Good call.
Yeah.
That is, if I didn't live where I live now, if I still lived close to Reno, I would have not gotten back into CrossFit because I fucking love that gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have a history. Nate, this might surprise you. I don't have a history of being an athlete. So I didn't spend a lot of time in the gyms. I didn't start taking care of my fitness till I was in my mid to late 30s. That being said, the quality of people that are in American Iron is such a testament to the culture that they have set. And I mean, I remember the first time that I saw you in that gym, I was like, the fuck? Like, she is ripped, like ripped. That's where I met Travis, and that's how I got him on the podcast. I was in there one day, and there's a guy in there with a CrossFit Games shirt on, and it's just like all of these world competitors. Yeah. They convene in this one place, and when you go into that gym, you feel like you're there to work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not this regular community gym.
It's not like going into a Planet Fitness.
It's not. It's not full of like soccer moms and couch dads.
It's not
like
a beauty pageant.
Dude,
It's grind, it's grit.
It is fucking hardcore. You go in there and you're like, okay, I have two options. Leave or put the fucking work in. Like, because if you dick around in there, they won't let you stay. They're like, the people in there are like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
Like, and I fucking loved that gym. So I wanted to give a big shout out to them because the opportunities that they offer people and what they've built is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's an amazing community. I started all of this in a commercial gym, and I remember going there for the first time and seeing, and of course at a commercial gym, I'm lifting the heaviest weights there as a female. And then I go into American Iron Gym and I see this 110-pound girl deadlifting. I'm like, oh shit, I got to step up my game. Like, okay, no, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be if I want to be better. And I love the atmosphere in that gym. It's just, you look around and you're just motivated every little angle you look in. It's just amazing.
And I think I like that term motivated because if you go into that gym and you're intimidated, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like you'll get chewed up there because it is an inspirational culture. Like the environment there is really motivational. And that was the biggest, most fit I ever was. It was when I was going to American Iron. I was like 212 with like 8% body fat. And I was like, because when you go, you're like, you're just going to work out and then you do more and you just go harder. And it's like, because everybody else is doing the same shit.
Yep.
I miss that place.
It's not like a social hour like a lot of these other gyms end up being. Yeah.
No, nobody's in there. Like after the workouts and stuff, like Ken, I would see you in there occasionally and we would talk, but it was never for more than a minute.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Travis, it was like a fist bump high, move the fuck on kind of thing. And I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that.
People that get work done for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there is some beautiful fucking people that work out in that gym. Man, it's like,
yeah. I remember walking in and just being intimidated too. And that's when they had the rooms switched, and the powerlifting room was like one of the first rooms you walked into at that point. And I walked in, I'm like, oh shit. It's so intimidating. Just like hunch down and don't make eye contact with these guys because they're all super intimidating. But then you get to know them, and just the neatest guys and so helpful. And everyone's willing to, I didn't know what half the machines were in there, and especially in the strongman room and the powerlifting room, and everyone was like, oh, let me show you how to work it. Let me show you how to do this, Everyone's so helpful there. So it's a great community
I
for sure.
I had the same experience. I was like, I never felt like I was in the way. I never felt like I couldn't ask somebody something. The
Yep.
gym was always clean.
Yes.
I appreciate that it's not a 24-hour fitness center.
Yes.
They have operating hours. And it's just, man, like I said, if I lived what closer, I would still be there.
Yeah.
It's just a great place. What put you on the path of the bodybuilding? Like, I know you said you kind of like fell in love with lifting weights and stuff, but to take that and narrow that down to such a specific niche, what was the attraction?
I guess it's a sport that worked for me because being an introvert, I didn't need anyone else. it was me in my own space, and that was my time. So like I said, I think I mentioned it, that I just had a trainer come up and ask me one day if I was competing or if I was interested in competing, and I was like, well, no, but you know what, that does sound like a pretty cool idea. Let's do it. And I knew what bodybuilding was. I used to watch the shows. I have all the Muscle and Fitness magazines. I used to, Aaron Stern and Nicole Wilkins were my favorites, and I'd watch them, and I knew what it was, but then I didn't realize that it was attainable. Like, it was something that I could do here in Reno, my little town. I didn't have to be in LA or Stanford, whatever. I didn't need to be in these big locations. So then, just my first time stepping on stage, and it was from then on, I was just like, this is fun. This is the discipline that it takes to get there, and the focus was it was my niche, like, for sure.
It's interesting you say that. What was kind of your first reaction to the level of commitment necessary to get on stage?
My initial one?
Yeah.
Well, so we came from a family who would eat Eggos and Sunny D for breakfast.
Are you from the Midwest?
It was bad. And so going to that super strict diet at first was rough, was really, really hard. And then so my doing my first show and coming off of it, and I thought I could just go right back to those habits.
How'd
was
that
not
work?
a good idea. I gained 15 pounds in 3 days, and it didn't come off.
Damn.
And a lot of it those first couple of days was obviously water retention. My legs were the same width the entire way down, and it was it was awful.
So you're saying that there's a process you need to go through eating to come back from stage weight?
Yes.
Oh, I would totally fuck that up instantly.
And it's the hardest part. I tell my clients and even myself, coming off of a show, it is the hardest part because your body is, got that taste of the food that you've missed. And so to maintain it from then on and do it slowly is so incredibly hard. It's not, I don't think, and I would ask a lot of my competitors, and I think they would agree too, that it's not the stuff leading up to it, because you have this end date and you have this goal to reach for, and you're going to be half naked on stage, so you can do it. You can put in the time. It's the after, where there's no end date. You don't know where it's going, and that reversal is, you just want to eat everything. Your body is hungry for it too, because it wants to get back to homeostasis. Right. So then it's so challenging.
What
is
that?
Challenging.
What is that period coming off the show?
Everybody's different.
Okay.
But it's just a gradual increase until you find that maintenance point. Gotcha. Yeah, I would give it like a month, 2 months.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah,
damn.
Yeah.
It's definitely something she's gotten better at. That's like what makes the pros kind of thing. Like, she's definitely gotten better at the reversing out than she was when she was, say, an amateur or whatever. Yeah, it's got a lot to do with the diets she's on now as opposed to then as well. She doesn't lack for a lot now when she's during prep.
Right.
The calories are just lower, and she has gotten overly creative with how to prep her food.
She doesn't eat the ice cream, but she will lick the carton.
No, she'll make what was it, yogurt and gelatin stuff to make it feel like ice cream and freeze it.
Yeah.
It's like those kind of mind games she's gotten really good at playing. And
right.
so she doesn't crave it.
Yeah, I did
much.
for pizza. I did eggplant and tilapia. Just kidding.
You said for pizza?
Yeah, that was my pizza.
I'm
'cause I
already
could put,
grossed out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's how. I mean, we get creative.
Right,
you know,
right.
like whatever we can. I mean, and you had a little bit of sauce. Well, it wasn't even sauce. It was ketchup with basil. Or basil. So
Like some Italian seasoning and some
Yeah.
You
ketchup.
want to talk about dirtbagging. Man.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
great.
you do. You get creative.
I went in the garage and ate my cheeseburger.
What,
Yeah. How hard is that for you? Like when she's on diet, like how hard is it for you? Like, are you okay with eating that stuff in front of her? Or?
does she have her own place?
He's okay eating in front of me. I'm not okay with it.
Yeah. Right. No, I think I do all right. I think
Yeah.
I try. I eat pretty healthy anyways, but I usually don't. I'll keep some snacks in the garage that she doesn't see and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Just to scratch the itch, if you will.
Right.
But no, she doesn't. We don't. It's fine. I mean, as long as it's prepped up. And usually it's just ground beef or something. That's not. She's not craving that. It's more of the whatever.
And I honestly think his job now helps with that too, because
Yeah.
he takes his clients to lunch, so he gets those meals.
It's a hidden meal.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Every time he
So
comes
I'm
to
not
town,
around
I'm like,
it.
Kim, where are we going for lunch, buddy?
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Yeah.
because, I mean, let's face it, like when you're in competitive mode, everyone's in competitive mode,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
When they're, I mean, that goal is, I mean, especially being a household. I mean, everybody's got to be on board with it, you know. Like, and that's got to be an
Yeah.
interesting dynamic, you know. I'm kind of curious as to what that looks like, you know. How do you assist in the prep, and like how do you support her while she's going through all this prep time?
Well, for a while when she was, because in true Shelace fashion, she was teaching and we could not afford bodybuilding. So she decided, I'm going to do a side hustle, which means I'm going to work 14 hours a week, not only in my bodybuilding career, but also in my teaching career, but also I'm going to build a bodybuilding team to help supply and pay for my bodybuilding sport. So when it was that way, I mean, it was a lot of domestic stuff on me, which I was happy to do, you know, the shopping, the cleaning, the cooking. And it was kind of a conversation we had. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I got burned out. I mean, we had a conversation about that, and it was hard. And then, since she, I'm going to say retired from teaching, but put teaching on the back burner and is just doing coaching and stuff full time. It's pretty easy now. I mean, she's got time to do her own thing and cook. I'm going to shoot it. It's cook, it's clean, it's all that household stuff, laundry that one person can't do. I mean, you have no idea how many dishes we come up with. I mean, if I eat 3 or 4 meals a day, she eats 4 or 5 meals a day.
Right.
And most of her meals and both my meals are typically cooked, especially since she's working from home now. So she's going to cook fresh. That's a pan. That's a pot. That's a dish, you know. It's
Just that nagging shit in the background, right?
Yeah.
That's like that residual aspect of,
Yeah.
you know, and especially with, you know, what you're competing at, you know, all that stuff's going to add up a little bit more, you know, as opposed to if you're playing fucking baseball or something, you know.
yeah, did you get my jersey washed?
Yeah.
But we even set up a room in our house for her to pose with. She's got a big mirror, so
Bunch of down lighting and
Yeah.
yeah, lighting's always a situation, Nate. You don't want to talk about lighting with a bodybuilder.
yeah, okay.
They've never met lighting they like.
That's true.
There's no such thing as good lighting.
Once in a blue moon, you'll find it.
Well, this is what I like about what you said, Ken, is regardless of the goal, regardless of the intention, the normality of life continues, right?
Yeah.
You have laundry to do. You have to clean the house. You have to go grocery shopping. You have doctor visits and dentist appointments, and like normal life still goes on. And as you're saying that, and I hadn't even thought about it in that, in that way, but it's like whether you're prepping to be on stage or whether you're a small business owner or operator, like the importance of those continuing conversations at home to make sure that team is continued to align and going, look, this is why we're doing it this way, because this is what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to achieve. Because when the how gets difficult, the why keeps you moving. Right. And it's like, and when you don't have that alignment at home, You know, you could be like, fuck your bodybuilding. I don't care. I'm going to go eat cake and I hate your face and I don't want to see. You
We
know,
had those conversations.
We've definitely had those conversations more than once.
It's funny you bring that up, dude. I just had this fucking thought pop into my head of Rodney Coleman fucking sweeping his own kitchen or something, and I'm like, that's right. This gigantic man still has this normal life that he has to fucking carry on with, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's so often overlooked. I know it is for me because you get so wrapped up in the goal, right? You get so wrapped up in the schedule and in, well, I've got to do this and I've got to do this. And it's like, well, life is still knocking on the door going, hey, we got shit to do.
Sure.
So, you know, having that home team, having that alignment is so important.
Yeah.
And I know, Shelace, you're not, the whole time we've been talking, even before, like your modesty is incredible. I mean, it really is. Like, anytime you're talking to a world level competitor and they're just like, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. What the fuck? But I know that you couldn't do it alone.
Absolutely not.
You know, and to compete at that level, like it has to be a team effort.
Yes. I mean, we've had knock out, drag down, whatever that fights
Well, you
about
guys
this.
do it
And I mean, it's been a learning process for both of us, and a learning process and communication between both of us. I mean, when I first started this, it started with the conversation of me, I just want to do 2 shows. Well, 20 something shows later. I mean, so it didn't start off super perfect, but it's grown. I mean, and I think that's helped us get closer as well, because like he understands that this isn't just a hobby, although it is just a hobby, but it is also something I'm super passionate about, and it is a goal. Like I'm an athlete, I'm a professional athlete, and I have steps that I have to take to perform at the level I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fucking.
Yeah, it's
I do. I mean, just like that, like you said, that evolution of it. That you're like, oh, I'm gonna do 1 or 2 shows, and then it's like, well, hold on, there's more here.
Yeah.
You know, and to be mature enough and emotionally mature enough to have fucking conversations, you know, and to talk about it, like that's fucking hard for a lot of people to do. You know, well, you said you were only gonna do this, and it's like, well, fucking shit changes. You know, like.
Well, in
about it.
business, we call them war room conversations. Mm-hmm. You have to have those same conversations at home where they're uncensored, they're unfiltered, but they're also the intention has to be clear. It's not attacking one or the other, right? It's like you're just expressing perspective, agreement, disagreement, misunderstandings, and again, just I said this a second ago, but you have to constantly course correct to maintain that alignment. And sometimes those decisions are difficult, and they get hot and they get heated, and they should. Yeah. And what I tell people is that I want you to bring that emotional intensity because it proves to me that you care.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You care about me. You care about the things that you want. You care about those things. If you bring it up and you're like, I just don't want to fucking do this anymore. I'm like, that doesn't.
Yeah, war room conversations. Everybody in that room should be a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Flat out. You know,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Come in there with everything you want and put it all on the table.
Yeah.
And be a fucking dick about it. You know, and just let it all out. And I think that people realize that they're far more aligned in those conversations than they previously thought before. You know, and it took a little bit of rawness, a little bit of sand in the wound to be like, oh fuck, hold on, we're on the same goddamn boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hadn't seen you on it. You were at the other end.
You were swabbing the dicks.
Felt alone.
I will say this too. So even as this whole process came out, like when I was just an amateur, I just wanted to do these 2 shows. Well, now I want to go get my pro card. Okay, well, now that I'm a pro, now I want to compete in these shows. Well, now that I'm in these shows, I have an ultimate goal. I want to be on the Olympia stage. So it was always like one more goal, one more thing. I have to reach for one more thing. And then, so actually last year after the Olympia, I turned to, well, before the Olympia, I actually said, this is going to be my last show. I'm going to retire after the Olympia. I made the stage. Yeah.
That's what I said. I heard that line before.
Yeah, I reached it. Like there's nowhere else to go from the Olympia stage but the Olympia stage, So I was dead set on retiring after last year, and then that clearly didn't happen either. So then it was, what's your next goal? And it's like, well, I want to win a pro show. Because I hadn't won a show there. I got to the Olympia on points. And so I started off this year and I got my pro win, which qualified me for the Olympia. And then now we're at this. And
see,
now
I have to go back. I have to.
Then what was your goal at the Olympia?
So, yeah. And then again, I was like, okay, well, I won't most likely participate in another Olympia after this one. And so, but then they brought out Masters Olympia. And so let's do Masters Olympia now. So someday I'll retire.
I think the organization's dragging her along here.
Yeah,
it is.
I completely agree.
They've got it out for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Dangling the carrot every
She's
time.
kind of got a thing going where she does have to strike while the iron's hot. She's still relevant in the sport. It is not a sport you could probably walk away from for 10 years and come back. I mean, it is.
Well, especially when I'm older anyways in this sport. Yeah.
Plus, she's building a business not based on her Olympia stuff, but based solely on looking the part and acting the part. And I think a lot of people follow her because they see the work ethic and drive, and that does help her business as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what is your business?
Nutritional coaching, wellness coaching, and then I have my own pro bodybuilding team.
Oh.
I mean, not pro bodybuilding team, but bodybuilding team.
You got pros on your team.
I do have pros on my
counts,
team.
yeah.
I did create 3 pros, so.
Shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good resume.
Help
They-
create, I should
Are
say.
they
I
all?
created them.
Are they all local?
Yeah. Yep. I have 2-figure pros, Gina and Shauna, and then a Masters pro, Wayne, who did bodybuilding this year, and he got his pro card.
Damn.
Fucking
Yeah.
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 Just
Gotta
cranking
love
out winners, huh?
I'm trying.
I love that.
What is your
Giant.
team name?
Team Iron and Lace.
you
That's
go.
right. I should
Iron and
definitely
Lace.
represent.
All right.
Yes. Iron and Lace.
As your goals evolved, going from I want to do this in 2 shows all the way up to the Olympia stage, how did your mindset evolve with that?
Oh, that's a loaded question. That's
It's a good one.
yeah. I don't even know where to start with that one. She stumped me on that one.
Well, I mean, is every time you moved the bar, it was higher, and then
Right.
when you moved that bar, you obviously thought and believed that it was attainable, and then it was going to propel you to the next one. But you have to mature along that way for that to even be possible.
Right. So I'll actually be honest and say I didn't think any of this was obtainable. It was it was my coaches, seeing potential in me. You need to be on this stage. You could do this. You should be an Olympian. Like when I said before the Olympia that I was going to retire, it was my coach going, "No, you have the potential. You have the physique to be on the Olympia stage." Oh, I do, and it was always somebody validating me to show me that I had what it took.
But that means that you're extremely coachable.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm coachable. 100%. You tell me what to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat dirt if you tell me to eat dirt.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you tell me what to do, I'm going to do it.
So if somebody,
And here's why.
Okay, go
like,
ahead.
I want to know that I did everything I could and everything I was told to do, so that I have zero regrets when I'm up on stage. Like, I want to know that I did it, and I followed it to the T. I followed the plan as is, and I have no regrets for what I did.
So that's how you take what someone else to believe is a possible goal and make it your own.
Yeah.
I mean, they thought they believed that you could be on the Olympian stage, and you took that as your own and was like, yeah,
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that
you guide me, you tell me how to get there, and I'm going to do it.
So that's almost kind of your fuel for your discipline is the belief that these other people had in you. You're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to fucking prove them
Yes.
right, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
flipped from when she was younger because she was going to prove them all wrong when she was younger. tell me I can't and I will. That was kind of her mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's just, I think a lot of it is imposter syndrome too. Like, I still, for the longest time, when I did become a pro, I would always say they, them, the pros. They do this, they do that, they do this. And so when I'm like, wait, I'm a pro. Like, I do that too.
Right.
Like, so I think I still live in that. even now as an Olympian, the Olympians do this. Like I still have that imposter syndrome. So maybe that's why I'm so modest, because I don't feel like I've like reached my potential, I guess.
Huh. That's
Are you your biggest fan?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. No.
Not even close.
She's our biggest critic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Biggest critic. 100%.
Okay. Well, that's a good segue into my next question then. What is that internal narrative like? And you knew this question was coming.
Yes.
I loaded you with that
did.
one the
Thank
other
you.
day.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's. I think a lot of it stems from not wanting to disappoint the people who believe in me.
Okay.
So, I have all these coaches that are there, that are backing me, that are, I have my posing coach, my nutrition coach, and Damien, the producer, Damien Segovia, and then Gareth Epstein, who writes all my programming for me. And, I go in there every day thinking I'm gonna show them that I can do this. So I think it's just not wanting to disappoint anybody and letting their belief in me, letting them down.
When it does get difficult, what is that? How does that internal conversation go?
Quit being a little bitch. I mean, basically.
that little bitch voice, right?
It is.
I fucking love it.
It really is. And I have those conversations with, like, you chose this. This is something you chose to do. And I love it. I love doing it. It's not that. I love the struggle. I love I don't know why. But I love that discipline. I love having a plan and getting to the end result. But then knowing that there's not an end result, because my physique can still get better and I can still change. And that's why I laugh about it, but I'm addicted to it, because I do love watching my body change. So it's that constant, like, okay, what can I do now? What can I do next? I think like a big one that I go off of is Tim Grover's winning. And it's, he talks about Michael Jordan, like he would win a championship and then he'd celebrate for a second, but okay, what's my next goal? I want to, instead of 5 championships, I want 6. That's where I'm at. Like, and I always want the next thing. What's the next best thing?
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting, what's next?
That is one of my favorite books.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've read it so many times or listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And it's just that I just want to know what's next. I want to know what else I can do.
Just the untapped potential of the human capability.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, do you know how many people, like, they get to their 40s and they're like, all right, we're fucking done. Let's start slowing down right now. And you're
Back on our
like,
heels.
this Olympia right now.
It's so much fun to live with, because I'm back on the heels guy.
Yeah, right. I just want to play golf, man.
I think he said he was one of those who's like, all right, we're in our 40s. Let's start doing this.
Chill out,
Yeah, chill out. She's like, no. No. Man, it's, I mean, I'm sitting here processing, but it's like to have these audacious goals and to have the evolution of these goals and to experience just the level of maturity that you've done, the understanding of your body composition and structuring and how that affects your mental and vice versa, like how your mindset affects, your performance in the gym that day. I know, like, mentally, if you're in a good mental state, you'll look good in the mirror that day. If you're in a bad mental state, you look like shit in the mirror that day.
Dude,
it's like your body's flat.
I don't understand that shit. I fucking, come home and I'm like, dude, I look like shit. Then the next day I'm like, no, what was I talking about yesterday? I look great. And then I'm like, oh, serotonin and dopamine and shit like that. Okay.
So as you've continued, to collect all of this data and been on this really in-depth immersion journey of self-awareness, with the coaching, I know you said you've built three pros now, but what's your plan to kind of continue your legacy, if you will, and instill that into other people?
Why do you guys have to ask the hard questions? I live day to day, Josh.
Meal to meal.
That's fair.
Oh,
Nate, start asking questions. Okay. It's your show
Dumb
anyway.
it down a little bit. Yeah.
gosh. I mean, I know that I'm not going to be doing this forever. So that is my next goal right now is creating a team and creating competitors that to show that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Really, like, you know, I've been through this. I can empathize with them or not empathize with them. And that's where I'm going next is I want to create a bodybuilding team that people know that, you know, I want to be the next producer who's my coach. I want to be the next Body by O. Like, that's where I would like to go next. And hopefully, I don't know, I'm coming late in the game, but hopefully that's what I will be known for eventually.
Yeah, I think with all that knowledge and, you know, all the grit that you have, to not pass that along to somebody else would be a disservice to the entire industry, right? I mean, if you make it all the way to Miss Olympia and then you're like, okay, I'm done, and then it's like you have all this fucking information that has to be passed along, you know.
And I love it, and I tell my clients that all the time. And even when I was a teacher, I was the same way. Like, we're all students and we're all teachers in this classroom or on my team. Like, I'm learning from them on a daily basis because they're all very different. They're all walking science projects to me. And I totally lost my train of thought. What did you just say? Hey,
You got to pass that information along.
but I tell them, you know, when I first started this in my bodybuilding career, I didn't have the best coach. He was a good personal trainer. He was not a good coach. And so you learn from every person that you deal with, the good or the bad. And like I tell them all the time, learn from my mistakes. Like, and I've learned from my mistakes as a coach and as a competitor. And I think that's where, like, I kind of have that advantage as being a competitor and a coach, is that I've walked the line, I've talked the talk, walked the walk, whatever. And I can now pass that on to my clients. Like, yeah, I've been there. I know what you're going through. I know that this sucks, but it's temporary, you know, or, you know, and I tell my clients all the time, ask me questions, ask me why I'm doing this, because I didn't ask those questions with my first coach, and my health went to shit, and I was not in a healthy mental space. I was about to quit bodybuilding forever because I was not in a good place. Yeah. And then it just taught me to myself to ask questions and ask why we're doing this and ask everything behind it, and then, you know, passing that on to my clients and letting them feel comfortable coming to me and asking me those questions too.
I think that's honestly what helps perpetuate all of these industries. That if you notice, everything accelerates a lot quicker now. But because when we have coaches in certain industries, you can take 10 years worth of learned hard knocks knowledge and compress it down into a couple of months. I mean, like, that's the whole point of Josh's coaching.
I'm changing the name.
Josh's coaching is that we have 10, 15 years of data, and we're able to compress that down and be like, hey, this is actually what works. This is what you should be going with, you know. And for you to be able to, you're expediting people. I mean, you went really quickly, you know, from stage to Olympia in 6 years. That's fucking nuts. But imagine if you could do that in 3 with somebody, you know. And that doesn't sound unattainable, you know.
And I actually did.
She's like, no,
and one client, yes.
Not to toot my own horn, but toot.
She's like, is there a button for that? This is kind of a big deal.
And done.
How do you know when you either outgrow a coach or that you don't have the right coach?
That's a great question. No, I like that one.
When you ask them a question and they can't answer you. And I know you don't always have the answers, and I appreciate coaches that say, I don't know, let me find out. But when you have a coach that says, what, you don't trust me, or just trust the process, that doesn't work for me. I need answers. Like, in my former life, I was a math and science teacher. I need answers. Tell me something, because if not, I'm going to research it myself. And that's what I did. And I realized I was outgrowing that particular coach because, you know, I was seeing things that didn't make sense, and I would ask questions and I wouldn't get answers. And so I knew at that point we were done.
How dare you question my authority?
and that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was basically told that.
Yeah, that's not a coach at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually walked into I bawled and walked into the locker room, cried, went back out there. I said, okay, you're going to train me for an hour. You're not going to say a word. And we're going to get this session in. And I just don't want you to say anything to me right now. About halfway through, I just looked at him and I said, no, we're done. I just,
No
good.
shit.
Yeah.
Good feeling gone.
Yeah.
Do you love the process, or do you get bored with the routine?
I love the process.
Do you?
I really, really do. I do.
So that's the best answer, because I think too many people, they fall in love with the idea or the goal and they hate the process. How do you fall in love with the process?
Maybe just because I enjoy the routine is part of that, for sure. I don't know. I love working out. I love making myself feel good, even though sometimes it's I hurt myself and those things come up. But I think bodybuilding is one of those things. If you don't love the process, it's not gonna be a thing anymore. Anyways, you have to love just being in there and beating yourself up and watching yourself get stronger and more confident. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Is it does build that confidence too. So not only are you working on your physique, but you're working on your mental state too and your confidence. So that's part of the process. I used to be I was a beat down person.
Timid, shy. When we first started dating, we'd have arguments, and I'd be like, "You can fight back. It's fine. It's fine." Boy, I wish I could have rung that bell.
Yeah. Well, my relationship prior to him was it was physically, mentally abusive, and that's where I was. Like, I didn't talk back. I didn't look people in the eye. I was just, and I think that's why I fell in love with bodybuilding so much, because it did give me that confidence. I mean, he helped with that too. Like, he's been a huge part of my growth as well. But that's what bodybuilding does too, has done for me too, has built that confidence. So I don't think I answered your question, but
no, you did.
I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did. And something you just said, and you made a decision to not be a victim, and you put yourself on this path of being a victor, right? And how do you reinvent yourself? How do you change that identity from examples of like that in your life, and then getting on the world stage and keeping that path?
It's still there. I'll be honest. It's still, I'm not completely over it. And I think that's why, like, there is a little bit of lack of confidence still there. But I think through the process and watching what I have been able to do and watching every step and watching my growth through it all, I think that has definitely helped. Just watching me grow, not only physically, but just more determined and more, I don't know, just knowing that the hard work has paid off, I guess, mentally and physically, that the hard work has paid off. I don't know. Would you add to that?
Yeah, I think a lot of what you do is in the work. I think that's if she's known for anything, I don't know that there's, and I'm obviously biased, so everybody's going to argue with me, but there's not
biased, but you also have the most internal perspective.
There's not many people that work harder than she does. I promise you that, whether it's in the gym, but definitely at home. The gym is the easy part, I think, for her.
Yes.
But in the kitchen, she never leaves the kitchen, and not in a good way for me. She's in there constantly, waking up in the morning, cutting it up, grinding it up, stuffing a meal, just throwing her bag, a supplement here, whatever, protein shake, whatever she's doing to run off and coach and train and get back. And she gets back at noon and she's in the kitchen cooking up a meal, and yeah, that's where it's done. And not only that, but shopping. She's got to go to Whole Foods, get the right, and it's not always it's the right stuff. It's not, you can't just go get everything at Safeway. You know? I mean, I think we go to 5 or 6 different places to get the right food.
It sounds fucking exhausting.
It is. That's why he does the shopping.
But no, I think the hard work is probably the answer that you're. I think. That
Well, and I honestly, I'll take this back to being a teen mom. Like, I just had to do it. I had to grow up. It just had to be done. I had another child that I was responsible for, another human I was responsible for, and I needed to provide for her. And I think it started from there. Like, whatever I'm going to do, I'm just going to get it done. Like, there's no question about it. So.
That fucking grit.
Yeah. I was just thinking
Yeah.
that. It's like an excuse isn't an option. Mm-hmm. So it's like this just has to be done.
You can make the excuse, but shit's still got to get fucking done. So you might as well just fucking do it, right? Yeah.
And she's almost never said, "Feel sorry for me." Like I can't even think of an instance, but I don't want to give you an out.
Yeah.
I mean, she's had bad days, but I don't think she's ever, even since her 20s, I don't think she's ever said, "Feel sorry for me."
And I'm glad that my small observation supports that, because that's you decided to never play the victim in any of it. It was like, nope, we're just going to get shit done, and you're going to do it, and this is what I want, and I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to do it, and then this is what I want, I'm going to go for it. It's like, just kind of continuing the process. And I'm really excited that you're now you have an opportunity to instill that into other people. You're not being selfish with it, right? Now you're building a team. You're teaching people how to think, how to act, how to understand discipline, how to ultimately rewrite their story, rewrite their narrative. That's going to help them accomplish goals that, similar to you see it in them, but they may not see it in themselves at first. And you're like, no, I'm going to give you part of the formula. We're going to write out this equation, and we're going to plug you into it. And then this is the result that we're going to get. And you built a pro in 3 years.
Yeah, it's been awesome being on this side of this as a coach. I have some amazing clients, like just phenomenal human beings on my team. And if they aren't, they weed themselves out real quick. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love so much about the people that I have on my team. You turn around, every single one of them is just genuine, successful, hardworking, disciplined, and supportive of each other. Even if they're on the stage next to each other, they're still cheering each other on. I cannot say enough about the people that are on my team. And like I said, the ones that don't want to work hard, the ones that don't want the discipline, I have a no-nonsense attitude when I'm a coach. I'm like, well, this is how it's going to be, because if you want to reach that goal, this is what you have to do. And like I said, I'm empathetic, but sometimes I'm not, because I've been in your shoes. I've had two full-time jobs at one point, and I still bodybuild, and I was still a mom. So please stop with the excuses.
So you're the one telling them to quit being a little bitch.
Exactly.
Instead of them telling themselves. Yeah.
And like I said, they weed themselves out, and I'm not made for this. Okay, cool.
Well, I have found that
a different coach.
Those people are far too often in love with the idea of it, but when it comes time to the work, there's no commitment.
Yep. Yes.
So they misunderstand the process.
And then going back to what you said, they don't love the process. Yeah.
Yep.
They don't love the process. They just want the pictures and the glam and the glitz, and they don't want to put in the work that it takes to get there. Yeah.
As a coach, I love what you said, because I think every single day, the words that just audibly come out of my mouth, I say, I fucking love my clients. I mean, and I really do. Like, because
thanks, Josh.
You're welcome, buddy. Apart from
guinea pig.
No, because when it's such a relationship of synergy, right? It's like you get somebody that comes to you because they believe that by investing in you, they can get the result that they want. And then you believe by investing in them, you can get the result that you want. But you have this alignment, and you have this synergy. And you're with people that believe what you believe. They're like-minded, they're hardworking, and they're like, and when you get someone that has that level of commitment, you're just like, fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's like fulfillment.
So much
I to me, the word that I use is fulfillment, because that's what I gain from those conversations. And I had 2 coaching sessions today, and the one I had last night, like we went to a coaching session for 90 minutes or so, and then we literally shot the shit for half an hour or so afterwards. Like 2 of my 3 meetings over the last 3 meetings were like that. And then my first meeting this morning was an hour and a half of just like good, solid. I'm just like, God, this is to find people that want to invest in themselves and try to build and develop this idea that they have of a dream into something tangible. They want to breathe life into it. To get to be a part of that is just, it's like being on stage.
Well, I mean, like, as a coach, you provide the tools, right? And so, like, you want to make sure that whoever you're giving the tools to is actually capable of using the fucking tools, right? Like, if you have a chance to hand a samurai sword to a samurai or a fucking toddler, thinking the samurai is probably the guy you want to give it to,
Yeah. It definitely goes to that fulfillment, because I think it's so much harder to be a coach with my competitors than it is to be a competitor. It's like to watch them on stage. Oh my gosh, so the anxiety is real. Like, I'm stressing out the days before, because not only are you, obviously you can feel it for them because you've been there, but it's also, you've helped them reach this goal, or guided them towards this goal, and you hope you did everything right. You have their goals in your hands because they trusted you. And so if they're up there and they don't get the place that they thought they deserved, like, you feel that, like, you grieve with them, you're disappointed with them, and the anxiety is real.
Yeah. And I don't know if dichotomy is the right word, but the other part of that is, no matter what, you can't do it for them.
Right. Yeah.
It's you can't, like, you have all of that anxiety, all of that stress, and it's like,
I don't know. I've seen her on the side of the stage telling them to get their chest up. And
Do you have any sort of a screening process for your clients?
No. No, but I mean, real quick, I can see who's going to do well and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still guide and coach along the way. I still give them my all, but nothing yet that I've found that works for me yet.
Mm-hmm.
So not yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a matter of weeks that I can tell. Yeah, they're going to do well and they're not.
Right.
Because as soon as they start complaining, it's like, nope.
Yeah.
This is hard.
Yeah.
Can I just use a lighter weight?
Are we doing this again tomorrow?
Yeah. I was telling my introductory letter, don't ask for a chemo. I'll tell you when you're ready for one. Mm-hmm. Don't ask for one.
Don't ask,
because that shows me you're
you
not.
put that in the introduction. That is brilliant. Like, I'll tell you we can eat fat ass.
Yeah.
You're not Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Sunday nights aren't for you. Okay.
Can I have a cheat meal? I will cut your face off. Wow.
Only if you invite me. Then it's okay.
And it must be tacos or
sushi. Is dessert included?
Yes.
What as a married couple, how does this affect your guys' dating life? Like, with each other,
Extremely.
like date night?
Extremely.
Okay.
Yes. We have to be careful about going to movies because the smell of popcorn sometimes, depending on what time in prep she is, or she'll sneak some skinny pop or whatever in just to. We have delayed a lot of anniversaries, a lot of birthdays till post show.
A lot.
A lot.
But at least you guys still celebrate it, Like, you're not passing over the.
Yeah, it's just a day.
Yeah,
it can be celebrated later. Yeah.
When it can be enjoyed fully.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's it's
Could
hard.
you imagine having a meal prep anniversary dinner? Like, sounds fucking horrible.
We have actually.
You guys are making the wrong meal prep. I don't know what you're doing, man. We eat good.
Do you have like a favorite go to? Like, what's your staple meal prep?
Meal prep?
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you guys do meal prep, or you like cook fresh everything?
Oh no, yeah, no. So I guess that one's hard. If I had to pick, it'd be filet with sweet potatoes, and so I get that when I obviously a little bit my fattier times during prep. Filet with sweet potatoes, and then I drizzled the almond butter on it. Is probably my favorite. So when my fats start going up, I'm like, yes, keep going. I don't even care about carbs right now. Just keep on going.
Is there ever time that you have to cut out meat as a protein?
No.
Okay.
No, never. I have to cut out shakes and
Okay.
then go and switch to meat. But yeah,
Do you do a lot more red meat or white meat?
white.
White.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. A lot of lean
It's
stuff.
easier to keep the fat content
Remember
down. on that.
tilapia and eggplant?
Plus, you can eat more
But
almond butter.
found out I'm not allergic
What the
to
fuck is
tilapia,
almond
so no
butter?
more.
You never had almond butter?
It's
No.
so
Oh,
good.
bro.
Oh, is it like peanut butter?
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
peanut
okay,
butter.
no, never mind.
It's
I haven't had
peanut
that.
butter.
I was imagining because they
Oh,
make
like
almond
butter.
milk.
Oh.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was thinking it was like
Oh,
butter,
like the butter.
spreadable butter, like you put on toast, like butter. No, yeah. Never mind.
Shelace, what did you say about the tilapia?
Oh, I'm allergic to tilapia, so thankfully I don't have to have tilapia
Did
anymore.
you develop that?
I'm
allergy?
sure I did.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did.
Conveniently.
Yes.
There's a
So-
shitload. There's a shitload of toxins in tilapia.
There is,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so that was my past coach.
Yeah.
It was like 6 weeks out from a show, and it was tilapia and asparagus for every single meal.
Ugh.
Every meal, 6 meals a day.
Really?
It was awful. Awful, yes. And it was brutal.
Did you steam it?
What did we do? It was, I think at that time it was steaming.
Oh fuck.
I learned how to cook it better
Air
with the
fryer.
air fryer.
Air fryer,
but yeah, now I can't. I just can't. I don't care if I have tilapia ever again.
Yeah, that's,
Halibut's way better.
It is. Yes.
I've never had that. I did the white meat thing for a while, and like it was crazy to me how in just like 10 days, like the body just the transformation with
Right.
the type of meat that I was eating. And then I went through that same thing recently. Also, it is amazing like how your body changes because I'm 41. Ground beef is disgusting. It's like,
But
but
that shit all the time.
What?
no, like for me, like I was doing all this meal prep, like ground beef, rice, broccoli,
Oh.
vegetables, like
Yeah.
and dude, it was killing me. Like I'm like sweating in the middle of the night, like fucking bloated all the time, like lethargic. I switched beef for turkey in 2 days.
Fine, yeah.
I was like, no more bloating, slim down, stop sweating at night, and just I'm like
Yeah.
fucking nasty ass shit.
Dude, I did carnivore for a while, and that was the best I've ever felt. Like it was just
People say.
red meat,
Yeah.
salt, organ meats, fruit, and honey, and that was it. And I felt my cognitive function was through the roof. Like,
Was that what you did when you did 75 hard?
yeah.
Was it carnivore?
Then I cooked everything in beef tallow or butter, and that was about it. But I ate a lot, fucking shitload of ribeyes. Shit got expensive.
Yeah.
But you get satiated a lot
Sounds
faster,
good.
though. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. It was just I haven't tried the fish thing in a while, but it was just the ground beef. Just store bought quality ground beef is not to have just 2 to 3 pounds a week myself. You know, it just wasn't good for me.
The fucking Matt and I eat goddamn grilled frozen burger patties and
All the
rice
time.
pretty much every day
Every
at
day.
9 o'clock. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
our go-to.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, hey, maybe you should switch up the meat a little bit and try something different.
Well, dude, like chicken for me, it's just a vessel for whatever sauce my fat ass is dipping it in. You know? It doesn't taste like anything.
Turkey burgers at a welding shop just don't even make sense,
No.
right?
We'd probably get beat up by our own crew if we were out there cooking.
You'd
turkey
hope, right? If you got the right
burgers.
guys, you know.
Who wants turkey burgers? Okay, get out.
Wrench flying across the shop.
Nate, you're fired. I own the place. What are you talking about?
Not anymore.
I mean, I think I draw the line with ground chicken. Ground chicken doesn't make sense to me.
No.
It's got to be diced or cubed.
Oh,
or
you're not
patty.
eating the right kind.
Really?
Yeah, Esternios at Winco has
good.
some good ground
Good
chicken.
ground
See,
chicken?
this is why we got to just follow them
Yeah.
around to the 5 fucking stores they go to every day.
right.
And, yeah.
I'll draw you a map.
Oh,
The,
it's so good.
the Shoemaker's tour of Reno.
Yeah.
Just gyms and grocery stores.
Not as cool as the beer walks or whatever.
Right, yeah.
What? So with the nutritional coaching, then, do you just do macro counts for people, or do you do full meal planning?
Both, yeah. So depending on what they want.
Okay.
If they want that guidance, then I'll do the full meal, like eat this.
And they don't
eat
have to
this, eat this.
be part of Iron and Lace to
Nope.
be okay. So that's
Nope.
something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's another.
So
option.
I have probably right now I have about 50 clients. I would say maybe a third of those are competitors.
Okay.
Most of them are
Nice.
lifestyle. Yeah. And I would say the majority, obviously, women, which I'm perfectly happy with. Yeah. We won't go there.
Men are too goddamn picky or what?
So listening to your guys' podcast with you guys doing like the women in the trades and stuff, oh my gosh, it's so hard to coach men for me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so difficult. And I don't know if it's just an age thing too, because most of my men have been older male competitors and you know,
Really?
they're difficult to coach. I don't think they fully trust a female.
Well, why the fuck did they hire you?
Right.
Cool.
That's
Dude,
a
that'd
great
be-
question.
That'd be like trying
Great
to teach a
question,
graybeard, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Trying to teach graybeard. Yeah, you ain't teaching me shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's-
yeah, that's been a challenge, but yeah, I definitely I love coaching women. I love coaching both, but I think I'm gonna stick with females. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's better to stick with where you're most effective
Yeah.
and be able to impact the
which
right
is funny
people.
because they're the hardest because our hormones are all over the place. So it's a struggle, but
Better
yeah.
you teaching than me.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be like, what is happening?
Why are
Yeah.
you so mad?
9 seconds ago, you were
You're
fine.
fine. Yeah, but I mean, even just within that, like TMI, I'm sure. Sorry, this is not the right table for this, but like our menstrual cycles. I mean, that's how you're going to train differently, how you're going to eat differently. That's all of that. And
Don't
we
you have to like
deal with
increase
that.
your calorie intake too
Yeah.
during that?
Yes. Yep. So
Which most women neglect to do.
yes.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knew Nate was a menstrual cycle
I know.
expert? Dang.
I got two sisters.
surprised
Too
me
much
at all.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a man till high school. So he was one of the girls.
When they allowed that operation.
Yeah. Oh Jesus!
I think that one of her successes too, especially with her lifestyle, but mostly and her competitors, but her team in general, is she always puts their health first. Like she has pulled people like, you're not going to go on stage. We're going to get your hormones right. We're going to get your. She can probably speak better to it than I can.
you said it.
Cortisol levels or whatever. We're gonna make sure you're right. We're not throwing you up on stage just so my team name is up there for
Right.
any reason. She's not
Yeah.
not that coach, which
That's-
which some would.
Right,
Some
right.
would just throw them up there because that's what they want to do, and she's willing to say no.
Yeah.
I'm willing to lose you for your health. I mean,
To
and
carry
I
on
think
my
you have
legacy.
actually. I think
Yeah.
you have.
I've
you
had
have
lost
some
clients that
people.
have gone a different direction because
Yeah.
I've told them that.
Yeah.
So they just like went too far, and then you were trying to reel them back in, and they.
Or just go get lab work done. Nope, not gonna do it. Okay, well, I'm not gonna coach you then. Or
Oh,
you know,
really?
or
they won't go
you
get
know,
blood draws or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just because they just like we were talking about, they want the glitz and glam. They don't want to actually put in all the stuff to stay healthy. And like you said, I'm health first. So I want to know that we're doing this in a healthy manner.
Yeah, I mean, look at Ronnie
because-
Coleman. Like that dude's on fucking crutches for the rest of his
Right,
life.
right.
Like it's so like the competitive nature of what you guys do, and the drive and the mentality that you have. Like it's so easy to run yourself into the fucking dirt.
Yeah.
Just doing that.
Yeah, and then with us, like I said, with females, our hormones, our thyroid, cortisol, all of that kind of stuff, just making sure that that's in a good spot, so I don't, you don't come out of this and then your thyroid's fucked up because
Right.
we dropped you too low, whatever. So, I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, on low calories, stuff's gonna happen, but we mitigate as much as we can in the
Right.
process, and not just go, well, still do 2 hours of cardio because we have a show to go to. So.
Well, you're trying to find the limitation of the human body, right?
Yeah.
And so there's going to be side effects is not the right word. There's going to be I don't know what the word I'm looking for, Nate.
like ramifications or
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have some pretty specific metrics in order to toe that line and not do it irreversibly, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and again, I mean, I have a competitor right now who hasn't been on stage for 2 years because of her hormones, but that could have been because of the show, 100%. It could have been, or it could have just been because she was on birth control, and we had to do that too.
It was actually going to be one of my questions, like how does, with the birth control, like how does that impact?
I mean, it definitely does because it's just another hormone replacement. So she had to come off of it, and then like I said, it's been 2 years, and we're still dealing with weight fluctuations and all of that kind of stuff. So I mean,
Well, especially they've been on it since they were like 14 or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and now that we have like IUDs and stuff where that's a localized hormone, right? So it's not as
Yeah,
rampant
it still
in the
affects
body.
it, but yeah. I mean, even the non-hormonal IUDs still do. So
Yeah. And then if you got someone in their 20s or 30s, right, that's also going to play a significant. Yeah. Jesus.
So, yeah, it's fun. Like I said, they're walking science experiments.
Yeah, I was
every
gonna
single
say,
one of them.
You're like
Every
a
single
professor
one.
wizard.
Yeah.
And I'm learning every day. Like like I said, I'm learning from my clients every single day. And they've made me a better coach because oh shit, this is wrong. Okay, we have to figure out how to fix it.
You just have these little hormonal petri dishes running around all over the place.
And different than my middle schoolers. Different hormonal petri dish.
Oh shit!
Hilarious. Oh man. 'Cause your journey is fascinating, and I can't tell you how thankful I am and we are for you coming in here and Ken coming in here with you and playing the supportive role that he does. I know through this through this madness.
This really adds to our tradie lady. We understand this isn't a trade, but I mean, this is hard work, grit. Shit that's kind of out of the norm for most women don't do what you do. So it's like it's really cool to see the excellence there, and then see the support that you have, and Ken coming in and doing everything he does. Like to see your guys' dynamic and the way you guys work together. That's fucking people would kill for that kind of understanding. I'll put it that way.
And it's been a lot of work.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
for sure. It's been a lot of work. He didn't sign up for this 20 years ago.
No.
So yeah.
But growing into this is the term I'm going to use, growing into the power couple that you are, like it is a lot of work. And I think it's a lot of dedication, commitment, understanding misunderstandings, miscommunications that a lot of people wouldn't subject themselves to. They would rather sacrifice the goal.
Yeah.
And so I think achieving that title of power couple and being able to have this 20-year journey that has allowed you the opportunity to be on the Olympia stage twice and now possibly Masters Olympia next year, like. That's admirable.
I think we're both just too damn stubborn to quit, to be honest with you. I don't think
it's not a bad quality.
Neither one of us have ever started anything that we quit.
It's not a bad
we
quality.
made a promise.
Yeah. Well, because the goal demands it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the warrior spirit. Like the goal demands it. There are no excuses, and you course correct when you need to, and understand that things are going to get difficult. And whether it's bodybuilding that this conversation, or it's small business, or it's leadership, it's like, man, so many people fall in love with the idea, but then they'll sacrifice the goal the moment it gets difficult because they didn't understand the commitment in the first place. And it's like, God, what a horrible place to be. You're choosing to make yourself the victim. And it's like, give that shit up. Fucking commit to the goal and do the things that you need to do.
Right.
So
I think one thing, if you don't mind me saying, is like just for the people out there that are married to or dating a high, what do you guys call them? High
performers.
High performers. Sorry, high performer. It's hard a lot of times because I'm not a slouch in my life. Like I live a pretty healthy, strong, active life, but I'm a slouch in my house.
Right.
It's difficult.
You're comparing apples to fucking diamonds, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But and I'm not saying feel sorry for me. I'm just saying it's difficult, and you have to recognize, look, this is her goal, what she's achieving. It's not the choice for me. I do want to have 37 hobbies that I'm just okay at.
Right.
What do they call it? Jack of all trades, not master of none. And she's the opposite. So as long as you accept that you're okay with that.
I think another challenge to him too was obviously, like I said, when we got together, I was very, I don't even know the right word. I don't even want to say mousy, but like I was very
timid.
Yeah, I guess timid and beat down.
Not by me.
And so I think like this role where he's the extrovert in the relationship, 100%. He's the reason I have my friends, is what I say all the time.
That's true.
Yeah. He's the reason you're here.
There's that. Yeah. But I think I think that role was a hard shift for him too, because he was always the one that was the center of attention, and being his personality, his humor obviously gets in there too. And then kind of switched within the last 5 years, where I was getting a lot of the attention just because I'm a public figure now in the bodybuilding world. And I mean, that's what a big part of our life is the gym. And here in Reno, I'm now known a little bit more because of that. And so I think that may have been a hard shift as well too.
And now I truly am Shelace's husband.
Yeah.
I'm changing my Instagram handle for sure.
Mr. Shelace.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you get a blue check mark too?
That's right. With all 600 followers.
Ken, I want to ask you a question then. How difficult was it for you to achieve that level of understanding that this life was going to be fully counterbalanced?
It was tough. It was really hard. Selfishly, it was very hard. I mean, like I said, you look in the mirror and you're doing okay, and your wife's a superstar, and it was hard, and it's not as hard as it used to be, because it's like, dude, that's my wife, I get a hot, beautiful, smart Olympian that I'm married to, so there's worse things in the world. And sometimes she doesn't fall asleep while we're watching a TV show at night. We can talk about it. Sometimes she falls asleep and I watch 3 more episodes and then act like it didn't happen.
You get yelled at for watching 3 more.
Well, because I mean, so the reality is to be able to commit to something of this magnitude, you have to make sacrifices.
For sure. Yeah, a lot. For a while, it was a lot of financial sacrifices we made. I mean that probably put the biggest toll, which is no different than starting a business in a relationship. I'm sure if you tie it to your guys' podcast, it's probably no difference. And she is starting a business. There wasn't a lot of capital up front for her business wise. But we did have to have a conversation when she quit teaching, because that was another source of income that basically we were losing. But it was difficult. It is difficult. It's a constant. I mean, we're constantly talking about it. It's getting easier as it's becoming, I think, more of the norm of our life, and it's kind of a shift. But just like anything, you get better at, I don't want to say juggling it like it's a juggling act, but dealing with it and going through the day to day is getting a heck of a lot easier. I mean, we are communicating better. Hey, you here? What did you do? This, like, whatever. Did you feed the dog? I mean, it's little stuff like that, the domestic stuff that has to be taken care of. But and then I'll tell you what. This is a side note. You think it's hard as a coach watching somebody up on stage? It is 1,000% the hardest thing I've ever done is watch her, especially on the Olympia stage. And whatever happens. And I mean, emotionally, you're a wreck.
What was that whole experience like for you?
I basically wanted to be away from everybody. I have to stand up. I have to pace every time she's on stage. And it's rough. I mean, because in me, she's the champion. In my mind, she's a champion. But also, as a fan of the sport, I do know I'm realistic about it. I know, and I judge that as well.
You saw the work too, right?
But I saw the work, yeah. And like I said earlier, I doubt there's many, in my opinion, that work as hard as she does. She'll argue with me all day. She thinks everybody works as hard as she does, but I doubt it.
They don't.
But yeah, it's tough. And then, like, you have to play the diplomatic role, especially since she's a coach as well, and you can't get emotionally verbal about it and what you actually think. And there's a lot of the sports with subjectivity.
How do you balance that? How do you?
I stay sober for a bit. I start drinking when we get back to the hotel.
That's fair. Because being emotionally diplomatic, right, and being able to control and discipline that, and be correct in the moment. Because you have the privilege of being biased, and you see the work it put in.
Right.
And I know that when she wins, you feel it. When she loses, you feel it. But you still have to be there in a supportive role, to make sure that that we're not falling off the cliff here. That this is a moment.
It's a supportive role, but it's also a protector role. I mean, I'm a big protector guy, and I'm old school that way. She's always walking in front of me. It's that old school mentality that my grandpa instilled in me, and like I want to protect her from the judges. I want to protect her from the mean girls up there with her. I can't, and I won't. But you know what I mean? It's that. I don't know. It's just hard. Like I'm a fixer. I want to fix everything for her. It's who I am. I'm not going to change on that note.
No, I like that.
I'll work as hard as I can to, but
Yeah, it's probably a good thing you don't drink there.
Yeah.
it is nice though because I'm taller than everybody at a bodybuilding show.
Right,
so
right.
it's pretty cool.
Tallest one's what,
I don't-
5'6"?
I don't have any problem seeing over the
Yeah.
audience. It's just great.
I'll say this about like this whole journey as well too is like when you talked about sacrifice earlier, he our relationship he sacrifices his relationship with me because I have to give my all to my clients throughout the day. He gets me at night when I'm fucking exhausted, I'm fucking hungry, and all I want to do is sleep and eat. And I can't imagine holding a conversation right now, and he wants to come home and talk to me, you know, as his spouse. And I'm just like, I'm tapped out. I gotta go. And so that again has been another one of those things that we've had to balance because. Unfortunately, a lot of the time he's the one, you know, I leave before he does in the morning. So he's still in bed and he gets the worst of me at night. So that's been a challenge.
But you
too.
guys have the ability to fucking communicate about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
That's I mean
Yeah.
that's the golden thing right there. I mean, if you guys can't communicate, it would have been over already, right?
Yeah, I'm going to feed one to your buddy here. It's because of lack of ego, I believe.
Ah,
Yeah.
Or by
mean-
saying that, did I just say I had
No,
an ego?
no. It's man. It's you know that. What a tremendous juggle, you know, to use a word you used earlier, like what a tremendous juggle that has to be. Because the reality is you can't perform at that level without having some ego. You just can't, right? Like
Sure.
you have to have that fuel to put the reps in and to do the work. And you get that ego as well because she is up there on a
it's
world
my wife.
stage. Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, she
I'm
is.
married
you
to
know?
her.
Yeah.
She let me touch her butt once. That was pretty cool.
Just once.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it was after a show. I was helping her put her pants on. It was accidental, but
Oh no,
still.
it's always right before. Oh look it, you can feel it. You can feel my glutes. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
that's the only time.
Have you guys gotten to a point in this journey where you can like unplug and detach and go away and just completely like involve yourself into each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, we make a point of it.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually went to, last year we took a trip to your favorite spot over there in, what's that
Murphy.
place? Yeah, Murphy's. What's that?
Oh, Murphy's, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I go to Arnold,
Yeah.
between Arnold and Murphy's.
Dorrington and
Go up there to the lube room.
The lube room.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We just did a weekend with the dogs and did some hiking and stuff. And yeah, that's just kind of unplugged.
That is a
Vacation this
great
year.
place to detach because
Yeah.
you don't get cell phone service in
Exactly.
half of the fucking places. But that ride up Highway 4,
You're puckered the whole time.
oh,
Yes.
dude, on a motorcycle, it's so much
I bet
fun.
Yeah, I
it's
bet.
fun.
Not in a big truck.
No,
Not in a big
no.
truck.
Well, it's again, I think just that example right there is really a testament to the maturity that you guys have gained as a couple and throughout this journey. Is because I know just from my own personal experiences in the past and like building businesses, you get so committed to the goal that you neglect other areas of your life, and that neglect turns to sacrifice, and that sacrifice turns to pain. And you lose a lot of stuff, and you have to be so intentional. And sometimes the one is there, but the opportunity isn't, and you have to create that. But for you guys to be at a point where, like, yeah, we go where there's no cell service. We take the dogs, we go hike, and you just get to, you know, bullshit in the truck and go to these small towns and hang out. Like, I think that's something that's so undervalued with people. In all aspects, it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, like to be able to intentionally unplug. And that's why when I asked you the question earlier, I used the term counterbalance, because I don't believe in balance. I think balance is horseshit, because you can't commit to something and balance everything else at the same time. It's not possible.
It's not.
Right. And people want to be a high performer, but they want to maintain balance. And I'm like, there's no such thing. Yes, thank you. It's like, no, you got to go fucking hard in the paint. You got to commit to this thing. And then you counterbalance that behavior with unplugging, with taking time off, with spending time with your family, with, maybe focusing on your health a little bit or whatever it is. Like, you have to be able to operate in that counterbalance. But if that pendulum swings and it stays over here, something's going to give.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys have, you understand that.
If it doesn't give, it's just beating somebody down. I mean, honestly, it's just somebody's just wearing it.
Yeah.
The other person in the relationship matters too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We both matter the most, I think, in the relationship. But it's somebody's taking a beating, and especially if they're not sticking up for themselves and saying something. I think a lot of our success is our roots are pretty deep. I mean, honestly, we got together through struggle. We struggled. We've been through a lot. The fact that we fought through this is pretty. I mean, and made it out shiny on the other side is a testament, I think, to who we both are as people.
Fuck yeah.
Here I am tooting our own horn again, but she's she's my strength, and I hope to believe I'm hers. You know.
Yeah.
But so when you say that, what I hear is that you've committed to the commitments, and you've committed to each other for those commitments, and that's so fucking not done. I mean, it's
old school, man. We're almost
I get it, but the opportunity for distraction today often permits poor behavior that doesn't support commitment.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys, those struggles and those, it's like, this is what we've built. You've got that bond. And you can see it like, one thing that I wish people got to experience when we did these interviews was just how the room feels. Right. And it's like, what I love about, you two sitting at the table is no one feels like they're trying to be dominant. There's no, well, she's doing her fucking show and I'm just on here. Like, I mean, it's like, it's so supportive both ways and protective. And I like that term. And I like that description, but it's like, you guys realize that whether she's on stage, you're both on stage, right? And every little action decision made along the way, you're both involved in. And we were joking before we started recording, and you were like, I wanted to move out when she was eating 1,100 calories a day, And it's like, there's supposed to be difficulties, right? That's that's the fucking that's a brilliance of greatness. Is it's supposed to be difficult to achieve?
Yeah.
But ultimately, what I'm trying to get at as I'm complimenting what I've got to experience in this conversation today, and what I've witnessed, just you two as a team, it's pretty cool to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, huge compliment.
Yeah, it is a very, very big compliment. There's been a lot of work put in.
I believe it. Yeah, I fucking believe it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Absolutely. Anybody? Anything in closing? No, we're not on time schedule.
Well, I was just looking over his shoulder, and I noticed you have Atomic Habits up there too.
Yeah.
Going back to the process of all of this and everything, I've read that book as well, and that has to be a huge part of it too. Like, I was reading his book, and I'm going, yeah, I do all that. I do this. I do this. I do this. I do this. Like, you have to have those habits in place, whether it's bodybuilding, whether it's building a business, whatever it is. Just having those daily habits, but then become, I think wrote this the other day, daily habits become your daily routines, which become your daily successes, and that all adds up over time.
Yeah.
And I'm neurotic about my planning, especially around my prep, because I'm at night I'm setting out everything in the morning. I think you guys have actually talked about this before too.
I wear the same exact thing every day, so it's like it takes me zero time to reach
really
around
hard.
and grab it.
No, you're right.
But yeah, everything is set out for the next day, so I'm prepared and I'm ready for the next day. And there's no excuses for me not to get my shit done, because I made it a point for it to be all laid out for me.
I only said wrap it up because I'm trying to be respectful.
No, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
I want to continue this conversation.
Awesome, yeah.
Like, I've been looking forward to this conversation for so fucking long. So the Atomic Habits, James Clear. Have you read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy?
I have not. No.
I think those two books work really well hand in hand. Because James Clear, as you talked about, it's like, just as you said, the daily habits end up building into daily successes. Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, is how that ultimately develops the goal, right? It's like there's a mathematical equation. If you take a penny, and you double its value every day for 31 days, you know what the value of that penny is in 31 days? $10 million. because of the compound effect of doubling that every single day. But it's crazy because at like day 15, it's only like $7 or something stupid, right? But through the atomic habit, through the discipline, through the successes, you generate this compounding effect at the end that can potentially end up being bigger and better than you anticipated. Mm-hmm. Something that you said that I'm interested in is you said repeat your quote for me. Daily habits.
The daily habits lead to a daily routine, which equals the daily successes. So you have to make sure that your daily habits and your daily routines support the goal. Right. Yes.
Right. And that sounds elementary in this conversation, but so many people will plug themselves into a routine and the equation doesn't work. Right. The formula is generating a different result that they don't want, but yet they don't have either. They're not introspective enough, or they don't have the foresight to be able to say this isn't working, and then have the humility to change it. Right. Instead, they'll abandon the whole goal and say, well, I tried this diet for 30 days and it didn't work. Right?
Yeah.
Fucking Weight Watchers lied to me.
Yeah. And I've told clients that before. I said, there's good habits and there's bad habits. And so you have to make sure that you're doing the good habits, and those are what's going to help you get to those successes, because you can also create bad habits by repeating the same behaviors. Mm-hmm. So
you already, before you read that book, it sounded like you kind of already understood how to deconstruct and reconstruct a habit.
Yes. Yeah. And it was funny as I was reading this, I'm like, oh shit, I do these things. And here
I was. Did I write this?
Well, it was just kind of like, I didn't realize that I was doing those things to set myself up. It was just things that I did to make it easier on a day-to-day basis.
Isn't it crazy when you stumble across something like that kind of explains what your own behaviors are? Yeah. And it like really like just drives the nail for you, and you focus on it that much more on this good thing that you have. But you're like, oh, I didn't know that other people don't fucking do this. I thought this was just how we were supposed to operate.
Well, and then I forget that in coaching too. I'm like, oh, well, you're not already doing this? Right. Well, I got to teach you that. I got to coach.
Oh, wait, that's why you hired me.
Yeah. No, I love that perspective, because that's something that I try, and myself, I try to remember. I'm like, okay, they may or may not know this. Mm-hmm. And I often tell people, I'm like, look, some of the stuff I'm going to give you may seem elementary, but we got to get a baseline. Mm-hmm. In one of the conversations I had yesterday, I'm like, it takes about 3 conversations for us to find our level, because this is really about word vomiting and me gathering as much information as possible, and then we can start to develop some structure. But it's also like with leaders, I tell leaders, I'm like, you can't pretend that everybody knows what you know. So when you lead from that perspective, people are fucking blind, right? I was working for a guy one day, and he was telling me some shit, and I was like, I don't have my mind reading glasses on. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, So being able to communicate that in a clear way, that generates that message or that communication. When I read Winning, by Tim Grover, I definitely am working on getting better at operating at that level. But the one thing I loved about that book, and you're talking about when you read something and you're like, oh shit, like that was one of the first times that I saw in writing like what my internal dialogue is. Yeah, I'm reading it, and I'm like, this is like, it was how I thought, and I'm like, oh shit, this makes sense to me. Like this resonates. I'm like, oh.
Do I know this Tim Grover guy? He's been following me around?
Yeah. And, so for me, that was like my connection to that book. It was able to create this internal dialogue and thought that I have into something tangible. And then to see examples of how other people have used it on extreme levels, like Michael Jordan. It's like, shit, like this. But then you look at it and you're like, okay, there are a lot of people that don't think this way or don't know that this is an option, or wouldn't be able to explain it if they did.
Yeah. And have you read the Relentless one too by Tim Grover?
Oh, I'm sorry. Relentless is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Winning is what I haven't done yet.
Okay.
Yeah, Relentless is the one I've read.
I was thinking the same one too. That's when you were saying that. I'm like, wait, I said the wrong one.
Yeah.
It was Relentless.
It was Relentless.
Yes.
That book, that is the best book I've ever read about understanding how high performers think. Mm-hmm. And that's how I sell it to people.
Yeah.
So when I read that book, Relentless, which that was referred to me by one of my clients, Garrett, in Kentucky at R&D. He was like, "Hey, I think you're going to read this book." And Ken, have you read that book, Relentless? Shelace, I'm really interested. I'm going to share with you like the most impactful part of that book for me, and I'm curious to see how
It's been a while, but okay.
when he started talking about the dark side. Like, I would read about 2 pages, and then I would have to set the book down.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. And then I would go back the next day, and it took me a week to get through that chapter because it was so profound. I'd never read anything that was able to describe and help me understand that particular thought process before.
Yep.
It was just like, what the fuck?
Ken and I are over here on the dark side.
In the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was just one of those things in that book. I'm just like, man, so much stuff made sense.
Yeah.
So much stuff made sense to me.
It was such a perfect book for me to be reading because I obviously use those like during prep and stuff, like just to get in that mental state. And it was a great book. Okay, yeah, that's I got to keep grinding.
Do you recommend any reading to your clients?
I don't. No, I mean, I'll share it with them. Like, hey, I read a great book. Like you guys with your podcast and stuff, I'll share it. Like, if something really touched me, like I'm going to share that, and they'll usually go listen to the podcast and stuff that I share. And I have a private page where I'll share your guys' podcasts and stuff too.
Oh, shit.
But book wise, no.
Well, I do know that since the idea of this conversation come up, I have progressively got more and more bodybuilders following me on Instagram. So
Yeah.
I had one of them start following me, and I was like, "Why the fuck are you following me?
Are you?
I'm the furthest thing from a goddamn bodybuilder."
Yeah. Well, I mean, so much of what you guys talk about, I mean, is right there with our mentality too. Like the leadership one that you talked about.
the pain of leadership.
The pain of leadership was awesome. And then what was I just posted the other one the other day?
The Man in the Arena.
The Man in the Arena.
That was a solo
so
one.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great one. That was so good. And yeah, that's our mindset. That's our.
It's crazy how much all this leadership stuff, it transcends business, it transcends
All over.
fitness, it transcends just about anything in life.
Yeah.
Relationships.
I mean, yeah,
Yep.
because ultimately, I mean, Josh says it all the time. In order to lead, you must lead yourself. And so I think that's where it all kind of collides with every aspect of life. It's like, oh, I need to get my fucking shit together and figure this out, you know?
It's almost like a cheat code. Like nobody had this before. They were just yelling at people, but it's almost like a cheat code.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if you would have seen our operation before Matt and I started with Josh, it was fucking embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, you've known us since we've been in coaching, so.
Yeah. Since you got your shit together.
Yeah. We got our poop in a group, you know?
It was,
Company group. I love that. I've never heard that before.
It was they were in the exact same spot that a lot of companies are. Right? Their identity was tied to their craft, and they had formulated this idea that their craft alone would carry them successfully into the market. And they did that for like $70 an hour out of welding trucks and worked part-time and rotated shifts on the pipeline to support the company. And it wasn't until the three of us went to Tony Robbins together, and then they made a commitment to start developing them themselves as leaders, and then truthfully invited me to be on that journey with them. That's when the business changed.
Was that when the shirts started getting tucked in?
Yep.
Yeah, that's when we had a business.
Yeah, and so it was like, you know, then they got their head out of the weeds and started operating at a 10,000 foot view. My job is to get people to the 30,000 foot view. You know, as a leader, you got to operate at that 5 to 10,000 foot view multiple times a day or a week, and you still have shit to do. But they were at like a 5 foot view. Right, they were just walking through the
like
shit
3
every
inch.
day.
That's about how far away they
You know, and it was like,
welding puddle is. Why
why isn't this working? But you know, the one thing that I contribute to them is multiple things, but it's like they've always been able to come back to the goal, to the agreed goal, right? And they had an agreed goal when they decided to start Battleborn Welding. And what I've got to enjoy about seeing their growth is that agreed goal didn't involve self-development. It didn't involve leadership training. It didn't involve business coaching. It didn't involve sales training. It was just like, we're going to be the best fucking welders there are, and go. That was it.
Dude, because if that was the case, we should have just stayed pipelining.
Yeah.
I mean, we were the biggest swinging dicks in the pipeline game. There were guys that were, that everybody was good. Don't get me wrong, but when you wanted shit done, Matt, myself, Velada, Coleman, we were the crew that got called in to fucking hammer shit.
And money
out.
wasn't a problem, from what I hear.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't till it was. It became an issue at one point. Yeah. Yeah.
But you didn't start a business to start making money. You had an income.
Yeah. We wanted to change. We wanted to fucking have the same life quality standards for the people that worked for us that we had for ourselves,
and pass it on.
Awesome. Because there was a time in the pipeline game where the guy that owned that company, he fucking handed money out. He fucking wanted everybody to be on cloud nine. And then a bunch of other people got involved in it. Like all the prices started going down, and all the guys that didn't produce any of the work had all this really fat shit out in the desert, rolling around with $1 million setup with a fucking drag car and a fucking diesel pusher motorhome. And then our prices are steadily going down, but then there's 4 or 5 more guys in that little caravan out in the desert. And it's like, well, what the fuck is going on here? Like, they didn't produce anything.
Yeah.
They made a phone call and told me to go somewhere. Like, what the fuck is this?
Right. How awesome is it for you to be able to help your brother too? On that level.
I mean, to be honest with you,
or even like,
well, I mean, I mostly work with Nate.
Yeah. That's why I'm the boss.
Yeah. So,
49.
Fuck you, Ken.
Thank you. I like that question, and here's why. Because I have 2 brothers. There's a third one. He's the youngest. So it's me, Matt, and then TJ. And this is a really long answer to your story, but it has a point. When I left the HVAC company under the terms and conditions in which I left, which were not favorable, my youngest brother was part of my team at that time. So when I resigned and walked away and forfeited my part of the company, I was also abandoning not only my team, but my brother. And then within 9 months, him and actually they had 100% turnover, but he had left and started his own HVAC company. And one of the things that always frustrated me about that situation is he never once asked me anything about business operations or clients. He would always call me for technical support. I always gave it to him, and I always tried to encourage the conversation of business, because one thing Nate will tell you is, like, I don't force my opinion on people. It's not unsolicited advice. Like, I'll have a conversation if you ask.
Yeah, we have to download it in a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And so I got to experience that from my youngest brother, and actually he ended up closing his business because he got an opportunity to work for one of the vendors, and that's where he's at still today. Matt and Nate started their company. And Matt and I didn't have a single conversation about business for the first 3 years that Battleborn Welding was open. There was no invitation for me to be involved. So the answer to your question is it's one of the greatest compliments, truthfully, that someone like Matt's one of my favorite people in the world. So the fact that my brother would invite me into their company and say, and had the humility and go, hey, we want you to teach us how to do operations and become better leaders. Like, that's the coolest fucking thing. Yeah. And I did that 2 years before I started the tradesman experience. We did that shit virtually. I still lived in Illinois.
Yeah. It was every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday night we do a virtual meeting. And we went through the processes, and I learned a lot and they learned a lot. And, we were able to work together, and they were able to create the company and the team that they have today. But man, what a tremendous compliment to have, to have your best friend and your brother go, hey, I think you can help us.
That's cool.
Wow, and when you're standing there with your dick in your hand going, God, we have no idea what the fuck we're doing. Oh, hold on, Josh knows how to do some of this stuff? Josh, will you help us, please?
Please.
Probably my absolute favorite story, and we shared on the podcast, I think in episode 5, which no one should ever go back and listen to the first 20 episodes.
Those
bad.
noises are dead to us at this point.
We were going through overhead operating expenses, and I was like, all right, like the first thing we got to do is figure out like how much money do you guys have to have just to survive? And so I'm like, all right, you got to have this kind of, figure out this. And so the next week comes time for a meeting, and we're sitting there, and I said, okay, we get to the overhead, and I said, okay, what did you guys come up with? What is your daily operating overhead? And my brother goes, $80? And I remember.
Was it a question?
I remember sitting there in silence because I started questioning everything that I was doing because I didn't understand the answer at all. I was like, $80? Like,
I think he factored in rent and the gas bill.
no fuel, no phones, no salary, no insurance. No, $80 a day? Yeah, that's what we come up with. I'm like, no.
I don't think that's right.
No. So, and then when we did sit down and we we did the overhead calculation. I remember I started asking, I'm like, okay, how much do you pay for this? How much do you pay for this? We start getting, and Matt's sitting there and he goes, dude, my hands are sweating. Because like this number kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, yeah, this is how much revenue you have to generate to operate a business. And the cool thing is I get to experience that a lot with my single owner operators and small businesses that I work with, because similar to Matt and Nate, they started a business because their identity was tied to the craft.
Sure.
And they're just like, oh, I've got a truck and tools. I'm going to go solve a problem. And it's like, well, how much money do you need to generate every day to stay alive? And they're like, well, I charge $45 an hour. And I'm like, how do you think that answers my question? Like, it's no. So, I walk through them. I send them a very comprehensive fill in the blank overhead expense form. I'm like, look, there's stuff on here you're not going to circle or fill out, but this is to give us an idea of kind of where we need to start. But like with Matt and Nate and the business, to Nate's point, it's like your business is a direct reflection of you. Shelace, your coaching business is a direct reflection of you and your capacity.
That's why you have 3 pros already.
He's right. No, he's right. And I try to get every business owner to understand that. So the only way that you're going to elevate your business and elevate your clients is by elevating yourself first. Mm-hmm. And you have to grow and develop. And when you have a skill and you have a talent, as you do, it's completely different when you take that and now you're going to coach someone else to generate the result. Because now you have to learn how to communicate.
Yep.
You have to learn how to tap into people's emotions. You have to tap into people's purpose, and you have to teach people how to create commitment. And then you have to hold them accountable to the things that they say they're going to do. And then you have to ask them questions like, well, help me understand why this is the decision that we made. Right? And
well, we don't know, so we can't tell you.
So it going from a high performer and still operating as a high performer into someone that operates as a coach, like, I know for me, and I know when you finally step off the stage, Shelace, I know you're going to, and look at that look on your face. It already makes her sad. There's not a day that goes by that I don't wish that I had those bags on hanging on the wall behind Ken. There's not a fucking day that goes by that I wish I wasn't in there with a team of people in the grit and the grind and the shit, busting my fucking knuckles, eating out of a bucket and making jokes all day. Like, I fucking love that shit.
And then you left work and your day was over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the truth of it, but I have a higher purpose here. This is my calling. That's just the simple truth of it. But I fucking miss that shit every day. And when I talk to these people on the phone, I'm like, oh God, like I want to go work with them and we could do this and it would be exciting. But still being able to maintain that level of enthusiasm and detachment at the same time and stay in my lane and perform the role as a coach. I'm still learning that. But I know that this business is a reflection of me and my capacity. And the best thing that I can do and the best way for me to serve my clients is to continue to grow myself.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, told you it'd be a long
Yeah.
answer to your question.
Yeah, all good.
But anytime I'm invited to play my role and be a part of someone's team, and that's what I tell them. I'm like, look, I don't see this as a coach-player relationship at all. I said, you're asking me to be a part of your team, which means you and I are going to strategize. We're going to make tactical decisions. We're going to have hard conversations, and you have to be completely honest with me. If I ask you if you're fucking your secretary, you better not lie to me about it, right? Like, we have to have that full transparency. And when they invite me to be on their team, that's how I play the game. That's how I perform, as if I'm on their team. I'm not sitting here with puppet strings going, oh, you need to do this better, and oh, you could do this, and go read this book and listen to this. Like, I make referrals all the time. Read this book, listen to this podcast, watch this TED Talk. I do that because it expedites their ability to grow. Like, if they're going to get only their information from me, that's bananas, right? Like, what a really small funnel for them to try to drink out of. It's like, no, I'm going to give you as much shit as I can. But it's a great privilege to be invited to help people become successful and find the best versions of themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what I found is, like, the more I learn I don't know
Yeah.
shit. So I'm constantly educating myself. Like, I have a seminar coming up at the end of this month in Tampa, and then for coaching, and one in March for coaching. And that's only gonna make me better. It's only gonna make my business better. It's only gonna make my clients that much better. And
How
I
are
love
you
it.
on stage talking, presenting?
Oh, awful.
Do you want to think about it?
The look on her
can't
face,
do
she's like,
it.
you didn't know that
She goes,
already?
I can flex. I don't want to fucking talk to anybody.
Awful. No. I have to have like this. Like, I had anxiety the whole way, and this is just the four of us chatting in here.
Yeah.
Like, turn around and go back now. Ken can do it on his own.
You'd be surprised how, like, most people, they get really nervous when they first sit down, but then it, like,
It's been
usually
awesome.
past their little warm-up session that usually,
Yeah.
mellows it out a little bit, but...
Yeah, we've never jumped on here and just went right into a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the fluff, man.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, buddy.
It's always funny watching grown-ass men get all, like, we had one of our buddies, we interviewed him, and he just stood in the doorway with a beer in his hand, and I'm like, dude, if you want to stand somewhere awkwardly, could you not do it in the one and only access and egress point of this whole fucking room?
Just waiting for a warm
Yeah.
invitation to
So
come in and sit down.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm pulling the Ricky Bobby, you know?
That's fucking hilarious. Excuse me. I had a question and now I lost it. God dang it. But
You were talking. I was going to say something when you were talking to. I didn't want to interrupt you.
God damn it. Frustrates me. I felt as it was important. Apparently not. It's like normally not.
Yeah.
Most of the time, no.
I know you always say you basically only help. You're down to 4 trades or something. I think you say, right? That people you coach, don't you?
No, I work with all skilled trades.
Just trades though.
Yep.
Not business building on any other level.
So I appreciate that question. I venture out of the trades if we're going to do leadership only.
Oh, gotcha.
I do leadership coaching with other industries. I had a client last night. We had our consult, and yesterday was our first official meeting. Not in the trades at all, but there's multiple areas of this person's life where they play a leadership role. So we're doing leadership development. So I will step out of the trades for that.
You're not asking them the leadership stuff. You're their overhead and their.
No, I don't get into that, and I don't
You
get that much into
You gotta
numbers,
ask the
but-
trades, though, because everybody
Yeah.
knows we don't fucking know.
Well, with the trades, like with leadership comes operations.
Yeah.
And when you look at operations, there's financial operations in a business. And I just want to make sure that they have an understanding of it. I don't teach and coach people how to sell at a 50% gross profit
Right.
margin. I know if they do the things that I tell them to do, and they develop themselves as a leader, and they create the best experience, and they walk through the 5 C's, that they are going to sell at a 50% gross profit margin. Like that, it's a great result to have. But I'm not like, this is how you need to sell, and these are the questions that you need to ask, and you need to have blah blah blah.
Yeah. What's it going to take kind of mentality?
Yeah, it's like, let's develop you.
Yeah.
And in my conversation with that individual yesterday, I'm as we joke, I got my shit pushed in this conversation because because a couple questions come up, which I'm thankful for. One of the questions was this individual wanted something tangible. They're like, do you have like a workbook or like a fill in the blank or something I could do? And I'm like,
coloring books.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I don't sell a plug and play product. I said, it's about developing you. So in that conversation, out of necessity of the conversation, I asked an unanswerable question. And I said, well, how do you measure leadership? And that fucking question kept me up all night because I asked it. But now I feel like it's a problem I need to solve.
That's like you're trying to overcome the fucking tangible book thing.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm going to ask a question that can't be answered, and I'm going to fucking ruin my night.
Yeah.
I did. I completely did. I toss and turn all night like, okay, where can I go? Like, what references can I start with? Because how do you answer that question?
Yeah.
What tangible factors can you use as a metric to measure leadership?
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Yeah. There's really no, after we don't sleep.
Yeah. Thanks, Dick. I'm going to be texting you the whole fucking night. Come on, Josh.
this?
Tell me what it is.
What's the answer? What's the answer? What's the answer?
So now I'm on this fucking mission to solve this equation. Because I respected the question that they had and was like, hey, do you have a workbook or something that I can work through that's going to measure this? And I'm like, how the fuck do you measure leadership? Like I've never been asked this question before. And I love getting questions I've never been asked before because it challenges me. And then ruins my life. But so now I'm on this, like, I feel like that's a question that no one can solidly answer.
It seems like a question that could be solved in a dungeon full of whiskey.
Here we are.
We'll figure it out just the moment we black out. Shit, we're going to have to do it again.
Yeah, I forgot what it was.
It was fucking profound, whatever it was.
Yeah. Don't think I haven't had brainstorming sessions like that down here at night. When I did the Man in the Arena episode, like that, the emotional journey that I had taken myself on to produce that podcast, it was part of that. I read that probably a dozen times, and I think I ended up on here probably 2 or 3 different times before I finally kept the record button on and was like fully invested and committed to that episode. And that's just part of putting the reps in and committing to it. But so yeah, I've got this new little nagging.
I think we all do now, Josh.
Yeah, and it's because, like you said, I don't know how to answer it, but I am going to figure it out.
Because
you know what?
Way, they just flop it out.
Yeah.
They used to.
This is
Slapping dicks on the table.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm out.
I lose.
I'm glad we get to push this along to our listeners too, because now they get to stay up all night thinking about the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully somebody will reach out and be like, "Hey, what about this?" But
Obviously, it's this. Yeah,
it's and you know, and what I love, and again, it kind of goes back to like coaching and being put in a position. It's not that I have to have all of the answers, but it's not like, well, this is because I said so kind of thing. And my client and I, we left that conversation very productive, but I also learned in that conversation that client is going to require a different level of performance for me, which I'm all in for. And so I'm automatically now figuring out like, okay, how can I structure a workbook? How can I structure an onboarding process for my clients that expedites this experience and their growth? And it just told me that I need to elevate my, my operations, my systems, and the way that I run this business. And I'm all for that. I love the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Love the challenge of it.
Well, yeah. Definitely got your work cut out for you with that one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because imagine trying to coach somebody that has ADHD as opposed to coaching somebody that has OCD. Like, those are two very different, information receptors, Because I'm definitely the ADHD one. Fucking all over the place.
Are you OCD?
I don't think so.
No?
No. I mean, I like things the way they should be, but I don't think I'm OCD.
That's fair.
No, she's definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
She's not going to stop in the hallway and straighten a picture.
Yeah. Well, I'll do that, but I won't.
That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
I won't do it twice.
Yeah. I won't turn around and check my stove.
Is it?
Way
On
too much
3,
time.
4,
Yeah.
5. Yep, it's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, so that was that was actually what I thought about earlier when I couldn't remember what the fuck I was going to say.
OCD.
Yeah. No, it was the
Unanswerable
unanswerable question. Yeah. And it was actually going to. I'm glad it got brought up tonight because I was going to bring it up to you in a conversation when we were in here.
Like, try doing it in the fucking morning or something, bro. Give me a little bit of time to chew on it.
No, just to be like, hey, by the way, I had this conversation. What do you think about this?
Fuck.
So, oh shit, you guys ready to wrap this up? Cool.
Kinda.
Papa's hungry.
Fair enough. Ken, do you want anyone to find you on social
Not
media?
really.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't think
You'll
so.
find me on her page anyways,
Okay.
at some point.
I've seen some of the pictures looking good, all oiled up and tan
There you
and
go.
muscly.
Yeah.
Shit. I don't know how they photoshopped
Back
it.
in the day.
Shelace, how can people find you?
At Shelace_IFBB Pro.
Yeah. Is Instagram the best way?
And Instagram is the best.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram for sure.
Okay.
Too much.
Yeah. Fucking TikTok.
What, you're saying I'm too active?
No. No, I'm saying that we're too old for TikTok.
Yes.
He said easy show cattle. Can I put that as a hashtag and then,
Go for it.
and then promote hashtag show cattle? She'll be like, God damn it. I hate those guys. Ken, Shelace, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having
for,
us, man. It was
for
fun.
driving here
A lot
and,
of fun.
and spending this time with us and taking us through your journey. I learned a lot. I'm so excited. I'm really excited to see where you go from here.
Yeah, me too.
Thank
you.
You're
No,
right.
thank you.
The excitement of the unknown.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that. So, Nate, good talk, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I did it all myself.
I know. That's why I just wanted to make sure we praise you.
Yeah,
before
all right.
we
Thank you.
Got off of here.
Y'all better fucking recognize, right?
Yeah, thank you for this. This is a lot of fun. Good
Awesome.
time. Yeah.
You can find Nate on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Emails thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Websites thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.